There's a lot of YouTubers that have come out in the last 2 or 3 years and said, I'm never doing shorts again, destroyed my channel. Meanwhile, people like Mr. Beast have some of the biggest, billion view shorts. So they're both right, but one of them is wrong.
Jeremy Vest, you're kind of in that category for me where every time I hear about you, I just hear these amazing things. And you're no stranger to success. You've worked with some of the biggest brands in America, 20 plus of the biggest brands, helping them with their YouTube strategy. In fact, I think you helped them get over 50 billion organic views, over 100 million in revenue. You were a director of marketing for vidIQ for a while as well. And more recently, you're running a new startup called Creator Unlock and helps people with their video strategy. But one of the major things that stood out for me in some of your more recent interviews was, I think out of everything, this stood out, was that you mentioned that people are starting to watch YouTube more on their television sets than anywhere else. So, for example, YouTube podcasts are now bigger than YouTube, especially where they're listening it from. The streaming of YouTube is bigger than Netflix now as well. So this is crazy. This is crazy for me to hear, especially being in the industry for so long. YouTube used to be a lean forward experience, and now it's becoming more of a lean back experience, which is kind of contrary to how the whole thing started off. So tell me, what's behind this trend and why is it happening? Why is it such a big deal? Why is it important for us to know about as people doing video?
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And we have definitely known each other about a decade, which is pretty cool. I'm glad to be on your podcast. So I think why it's so big and so important is because basically this is the biggest change. I've been doing YouTube strategy for 19 of the 20 years YouTube's been around. And this is the first big thing, to be honest, in my opinion, that's happened. When iPhones came out, mobile was 80 to 90% of views in America on YouTube for probably about a decade. Now, in America at least, televisions have more watch time than cell phones. And the reason that's such a big deal is it's like basically you're not scrolling and swiping, you're just leaning back and watching and experiencing. And that is a totally different situation. I'll give you an example. So when I helped vidIQ go from about 100,000 subscribers to they are now over at 2 million subscribers, they were teaching people YouTube strategies, how to become a YouTuber, how to get more views on YouTube. And they were, for a while, the fastest growing YouTube channel in the world. And their average view duration, let's just call it about 6 to 8 minutes long. Now, view duration is the biggest, basically, algorithm signal to YouTube. There is a new channel, not that new, but up and coming channel called Colin and Samir. And what they do is they also talk about YouTube tips and tricks, but basically they interview people like a podcast for 1 to 3 hours long. Colin Smear's average view duration is 45 minutes. So why this is such a big
massive.
deal?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? So why this is such a big deal is a channel with 2 million subscribers has zero hope of ever catching the momentum of a Colin Samir until they go make a new long form show. Because why, as a YouTube, an advertiser, their entire mission is to run ads against their content. Why would they share my video that gets an average of 6 minutes versus a video that gets an average of 45 minutes? So the reason it's a big deal is you now have to change everything about the approach of long form content. And if you don't, you're going to be left in the dust.
That's been a super interesting trend. I think I remember, I'm not sure if you remember this as well, but there was a It was one of the first long form videos that went viral on YouTube. I'm not sure if you have the same one in your memory, but I mean, maybe there were a few. But one that really stood out was, I can't remember the exact title, but it was something like Coney 94 or something like that, and it was a
Yeah.
video about an African dictator, if I remember. And it was like 37 minutes long or something. It was over 30 minutes. And I remember it breaking the trends back then, because before then, if your videos, if you wanted your videos to go viral, the advice was make them short as possible, and
Right.
then that video came out. It's like, oh, hang on, this now changed the game. And then video after video, I remember big, I forget the name now, but they started doing these long form videos as well. So this is already a way back now. But what you're identifying now is not just longer form videos. You're talking about now this trend of people not just leaning forward anymore, like we used to talk about. Like YouTube is a lean forward experience where you sit there and you engage and you type a comment and you leave have a like or this sort of thing. Now that trend, what we're seeing with television is people are sitting back and they want to be entertained. They want to sit and watch a show for like half an hour to an hour long, like they normally do with television. So to me, that is fascinating. So what you're saying about long form being important, especially for watch time, that's like a key indicator is super interesting, but especially now with the way that people are consuming it on TV. I want to ask you okay, so with Colin and Samir, tell me a bit about them. Let's look at them as sort of a case study in terms of the what. So what have they got? Like what are they doing different, say, to like the Coney video that went viral? It was like it was like a documentary style video. The channel that I was thinking about earlier was Big Think. They used to have like very short videos that went viral, but then they had this one longer form video which was about half an hour long or so, and then that thing went viral. And it was crazy. It was like one of their first videos that went viral. But how are those sort of videos, like highly produced sort of things, different to what Colin and Samir is doing with? Well, it's a video podcast, right? So what is different
Right.
there that they're doing and that's working really well?
I would say like the two big categories of videos that do well right now in long form are what I like to call deep dive videos, like you're explaining like the history of the dictatorship in Africa, or a podcast. But both of them have the opportunity to be good or bad. One thing that a Joe Rogan podcast or a Colin and Smear do very well is they're masters at the hook. So they are masters at making the video in the first 30 seconds retain 70% of viewers. They are masters at getting you hyped up and telling a beautiful story so that you get hooked into the storytelling, and then they follow the journey of the story in a specific order that keeps you kind of leaning in, not just completely laid back, but leaning in and wanting the next thing to happen. So it's really a combination for both podcasts and deep dive, like analysis style videos. It's all about the storytelling. It's all about the hook. It's about the payoffs. And any Disney movie uses a formula called the hero's journey. And any good podcast does the same thing. Any good deep dive show has a phenomenal storytelling formula that is very sophisticated and is designed to absolutely keep you entertained. I want to give you a really good example. So, one of my customers is Roger Wakefield. He is now the most famous plumber in the world. And his biggest video is how to fix a leaky toilet. He ranks number one for plumbing on YouTube, and obviously has been very successful for a plumber on YouTube. So 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, when I told him to make the video how to fix a leaky toilet, he he did. It's his biggest current video on his channel. But this is what I would do differently in 2026. Now, what I would do for the same video is I would say, is your leaky toilet costing you over $1,000 a year? Question mark. So that's a big difference, right? We went from how to fix your leaky toilet to a story driven leaky toilet involving you. So it's not, now it's a mission. It's not just about fixing your leaky toilet. It's about saving you $1,000 a year.
I remember you talking about this as well, like how this massive shift now, especially with AI in the game, where how-to videos are going to be something of the past. I mean, like already now, like I don't go to YouTube or Google anymore to find information on how-to stuff. Like literally, like yesterday, I was doing some work in what's it called, Pixel Pro or something on Pixelmator Pro on drawing some images and stuff, and I got stuck, and it's like, ChatGPT, boom, 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 how do I do this in Pixelmator Pro? And boom, right away, there's the answer with all the resources I need. And I, like, if I have to go to YouTube, it takes a while to get into it. So it seems like there's a huge trend there where, AI is going to be taking care of all the how-to stuff. And what you're saying is now, okay, there's a story component now that's going to become much, much more important. Let's take things back a bit, because it seems like you've really latched onto a future strategy here for YouTube, especially for when people want to become the go-to person or brand in their space. And it's not anymore about how-to videos. That's not going to be working anymore. There's a new format, and it's the show format. So tell me, it's not just the show format necessarily, but it's also the storytelling side of it. You talk about Disney, so I want to dig into that a little bit as well in a second. But if we go back a little bit, someone listening to this or watching, like if they're not doing this yet, where should they start? Because you're a big strategy guy. Like strategy is the what. Like what is the right thing to focus on? So where is the right place to start if you're thinking about engaging in this new way of building an audience on YouTube?
So I have, been doing YouTube strategy a long time. And as you know, I've worked with a lot of like the software companies behind YouTube strategy and a lot of the top brands. And I have a lot of opinions that are different than a lot of the coaches and gurus out there. To this day, there's a lot of very bad information, obviously, with YouTube coaches. But one of the biggest, scariest things that actually really kind of upsets me is YouTube gurus and coaches saying that vertical videos and YouTube shorts are not good for your channel. That is complete BS. And, this is what happens. If you go viral for a YouTube short that has nothing to do with your channel, then you're going to break your niche. And it's kind of like shattering glass. You're going to fragment your audience into a million different pieces. But if you go viral in your plumbing channel on plumbing or plumbing react videos, then you're fine. What happens is people, let's say they get 20 million views on a YouTube short that has nothing to do with their channel, they're going to destroy their channel because they're going to fragment their audiences to audiences that don't care about the actual content they want to build on their channel. So the way I would start, and the way I start all my new customers, is let's go master the 15, the 30, the 45-second YouTube Shorts storytelling video. Let's master that. Let's get a few million views. And then and only then do we go deeper into long form content. And the reason for it, it's a whole lot easier to make a good 30-second video as it is a 30-minute video.
Okay, you've just totally come out of left field here for me, because I was thinking, you know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say, okay, you want to do the show thing. Here's, this strategy for long form. I honestly thought that was going to be the thing you're going to say. But what you're saying is contrary to that. You're saying if you're just getting started with this, don't start with the long form, start with the short form. And I'm kind of glad you're saying that, because I'm like, I've got a short form SaaS company, and I want to
Yeah.
encourage people to do more short form. So I'm actually really glad you're saying that, but it's surprising to me because I didn't expect that. Okay, so you're saying start with short form. Start with short form, do the storytelling in short form, and let your short form videos go viral within the niche that you want to be known for, right?
But
That's
if
what you're
you
saying?
let them, yeah, absolutely. But if you let them go viral and it's not your niche, you're fragmenting your audience and destroying your viability of organicness. What happens, there's a lot of YouTubers that have come out in the last 2 or 3 years and said, I'm never doing shorts again, it destroyed my channel. Meanwhile, people like Mr. Beast have some of the biggest, billion view shorts. So what they're both right, but one of them is wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, it can destroy your channel if you do it outside of your niche. But that makes sense to me, because if you look at TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, they're really serving you content, viewers content on their past watch history. So if someone's talking about ping pong, but their channel is about lawn care maintenance, then you're going to, if you go viral with 10 million views, which just happened to one of my customers about ping pong on your lawn care maintenance channel, you're going to have 20, 30, 40,000 new subscribers one evening that care about ping pong and not lawn care maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very big
Mm.
problem.
Okay, so how do you? I mean, I can already guess. My guess is that how to prevent that is to just don't create content that is not within your niche, right? So are there any other things that you should watch out for? Because I guess sometimes with short form, heard a lot of people talk about how it's kind of like a bit of a shotgun approach, where shotgun in the sense of quantity instead of quality. But I guess what you're
I
saying.
definitely disagree. I definitely disagree with that. And I've
Okay,
done
let's get into
probably
that.
like personally 300 or 400 million views on YouTube Shorts at this point. And this is what I believe. I believe that there are three things it takes to go viral or get a lot of views on YouTube Shorts. One is your niche so that you're not destroying your channel. Two is your average view duration for that short. My suggestion is anything under 30 seconds long, you must have 100% watch time. And anything over 30 seconds long, you must have 80% watch time. The third thing is swipe away rate. If your swipe away rate is under 40%, meaning 60% of the people are watching your video and not swiping away, you have 100% to 80% watch time, and it's within your niche, you are going from kind of the shotgun approach to a surgeon approach to going viral on YouTube. And it you still may only get 1 out of 10 videos to go viral, but it's not 100, 1 out of 100.
Okay, so now you've got me really intrigued, because now I want to know, what is the anatomy. Like, if you're the surgeon, you've got the surgeon hat on or the surgeon frame, you're not going for quantity necessarily, but you're going for quality, and you're going within niche, and you want to create these videos specifically that'll go viral so it can seed your channel, I suppose, with that audience. What is the anatomy of a viral short form video?
So it depends on what type of video there is. There's basically, let's just say there's two types of videos. There's a showing a thing or talking about a thing. To me, I know that's pretty low tech, but to me, that is the two ways that you can go viral. Do you mind sharing my screen real quick?
You're on it. I'm on
All
it,
right.
but you're on the screen now. Yes, your screen is on my screen. Go for
So
it.
I was able to do. I like clipped a lot of these videos and got these. This was one of my favorite examples of showing a thing instead of talking about a thing is this Ninja Star skateboard. So this video has almost 8 million views on YouTube, and there is a lot of virality about this. One,
Mm.
it's a Ninja Star and a skateboard. Two, anyone in the world will watch this, not just skateboarders, because it's insane. And three, you do not have to wait. A Ninja Star just hits a guy in the shoes to begin with, and you just see them doing stupid stuff.
I've
So
seen it. I've seen this. Is this video a few years old? Because I've seen it. I'm pretty
it
sure I've
is.
seen
It
it.
is.
Yeah. Okay.
This
So
was
this
the
was your
first
video. This
time
was you were.
yeah,
This was
that
your.
was my
Okay.
video. Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
So that was the first video I got to go viral on YouTube Shorts when YouTube Shorts first came out. This is one of the bigger videos I've done, and it's 39 million views. And again, it's showing a thing, and the thing is, we know the glass skateboard's going to break. We just don't know when. That is called the payoff. So the hook, the anatomy of a very good visual thing is anticipation, hooking people in. In this case, the hook is we know the skateboard's going to break. And then the last part of that is the payoff. And in this video, the reason I got 39 million views is that. So
Okay.
the skateboard blows up in a million different directions, and voila.
Amazing. I don't actually know how much I'm allowed to share, on this video. Hopefully we don't get clipped on this, but that's amazing. So, I mean, I just saw parts of it there, but I can see what you mean there with the payoff. It's a nasty fall that he had there. And I didn't see did the skateboard break?
It broke in a million pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely did. Definitely did.
Okay. Show me more.
So here's another video I did for Grant Cardone's wife, Elena Cardone. And this video actually took her from 30,000 subscribers to 250,000 subscribers in 6 months.
Wow.
Now, this video is the second type of video, and that is more talking head video. And what you notice is in the first 0 seconds, we know what the video is about. So this is, just for context, a billionaire talking about the fact that she does not have a prenup. Now, that is a good ideation, storytelling. We've already, within 0 seconds, a lot of people say, oh, you really need to kind of hook them within the first 2 seconds. It's too late. They're already gone. So with the skateboarding video, within the first second, you see a Ninja Star hitting someone in the shoes. That is a phenomenal hook. Seeing a billionaire talking about not having a prenup and showing the more famous of this couple, which is Grant Cardone, was phenomenal storytelling. So then she talks about why we're doing burnt-in captions on the screen. A lot of people still are at work or what have you, so we need to visually show and tell what they're saying, just in case they're not able to listen. And she breaks down the story. 20 years ago, I wasn't looking to get married. He asked me to marry him and said, I want a prenup. And she said no. They became billionaires, and the rest is history. But what a lot of people don't see in the back end of a story like this is a very intentional, story-driven, very, very good video. The subtleties of what makes a good short versus a bad short is the idea itself. Mr. Beast spends more money and time on ideas than he does on production, sets, filming, editing, or thumbnails. So
So
the
ideas are important.
ideas are very important. One of the things I do very well for my customers is I go study with AI the top 1,000 ideas to ever be made. And what does that mean? Views. So, what are the top 100 or 1,000 most viewed videos in the world for your exact niche? And then break that down from a storytelling perspective. So, this is just one of a million examples, and you don't have to share my screen anymore, but just wanted to kind of throw that
Mm.
out there that it is you have two types of YouTube shorts, the thing that's happening and the talking head. But yeah, the reason quantity doesn't matter is because we can predictably create or organically viral content if we know what to look for.
Okay, so just to touch on that before we move on, because it seems really important. So finding those ideas, you said views. That's one way that you find them, and then you used AI to help you find those ideas. Are you at liberty to say what kind of tool you're using for that? Do you just go to YouTube and look for the number of views and go and use ChatGPT to analyze the scripts, or what's your method there before we move on to the next bit?
Sure. I can actually, if you want to share my screen again, I can actually show you.
100%.
Um, so I created this software called creatorunlock.com. And if anyone wants to check it out, you can get a free channel audit that's pretty intense. But
Just while you're on that, Jeremy, I've got it just on my screen here. If people want to check it,
oh,
creatoronlock.com. I
cool.
actually before our interview, I sneakily went in there and created an account for a new brand that I'm working on, Vubli, and I thought, let me just try it out. And I literally I think I just connected my YouTube channel, and then it took a couple of minutes or whatever, and I honestly thought it's just going to give me like a couple of paragraphs. It spat out like pages and pages and pages of stuff. Like I had no idea. Just want to say this, and that was for free. So if
Yeah.
you're interested in this, definitely check it out. But back over to your screen, Jeremy. This sounds really interesting.
So this is what we do. In this particular case, our software first identifies your niche. So one thing I want to say is like why our software over the others, vidIQ, TubeBuddy, one of 10, they create really good AI tools that can help you make better thumbnails and titles and descriptions and scripts, but they're not very intelligent on your goals, your niche, your competitors specifically. So what we do is we help you define your niche, the keywords, the exact things you're going to talk about, and then we create between 3 and 500 of the top performing videos in the world. And you can see in this case, we have 372 videos. Now, with this data, we know 372 of the top performing titles, thumbnails. We bring in the transcripts of the video and all the data. All the data is of the video. So now we know all the stuff when we go create a title or a script or a thumbnail. We're doing it with the power of a custom AI model designed around your competition. So
Mm.
I, even last year, it would take me about 40 hours to compile something like this per channel. Now it takes me about a minute.
Yeah, incredible.
So
I've got
just throwing that out there. That's how I do it is we use this exact tool and I'm able
yeah,
to gather
okay.
the best data in the world.
Yeah, and just on that, I think what surprised me was that when I signed up, I thought, this is going to be showing me how to give me some ideas for titles and descriptions tags, and cool, but there's a million other tools that can do that. What I didn't expect was this. Like, check this out. So I've just logged into my account. So this is the analysis for Vubli. Let me just scroll through here quickly. This is all the stuff that I got created for me. Boom, boom, boom. I'm still scrolling. This is all like a competitive analysis. The whole the whole thing that, like you say, that you would do as a strategist to figure out the playing field for your channel to just become the channel in that space. So I was just, even though that was the free thing, and I know you can upgrade for more things, that was already it surprised me again. So it was really cool. Yeah. Anyway, all right.
I've
So
definitely seen people spend, charge thousands of dollars just for that audit, just the thumbnail, or the channel audit alone, just what you get for free. People charge thousands of dollars for that. So we wanted to give a lot of value, and we wanted to, make sure people understood that, oh, this isn't just another tool that's going to teach you what thumbnail to make.
well, I think the difference now with, people say AI can do everything, blah blah blah. Yeah, sure. However, there's still that creativity and the lived experience. Is that a thing that we can apply
Absolutely.
here? That you've now injected your mind and your lived experience into the brains of your AI, of Creator Unlock. So in essence, people are not just getting access to a smart AI brain; they're getting access to essentially a Jeremy Vest cloned brain in a way, because you've injected your knowledge and experience into the reports that you're getting from that, which I think is very unique.
And there's a reason why Mark Zuckerberg is spending up to $250 million for a prompt engineer right now per person.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Chat GPT, or, any of these platforms are only as smart as the person making the
Hmm.
prompts. What's cool about software like this is we've compiled 19 years of experience and millions of
Yeah.
data points, to make prompt engineers smarter by default.
Hmm. Amazing. All right, so let's get back a bit to the anatomy, Jeremy, of a short form video that can go viral, or setting it up to go viral. So you've talked about the two different examples here: the showing people something and then talking about the something, the two contrasting things, and you've taken us through those examples, which is great. And then you've also shown us how to actually find those ideas using your tool, Creator Unlock. So check it out, everybody. So what's next? So is that it? Like, is that enough information for you to magically become the world's best short form video creator? What else is required for you to then create something that's truly watch and share worthy for people on not just YouTube, but TikTok and Instagram? They're all kind of similar. What's your advice
I
on that?
think
What's next?
I think both of us would probably agree with, for one, you probably need to go make 100 videos and suck at them.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It fell fast, fell hard, but Mr. Beast's first 3 or 4 or 5 years of YouTube creation, you can still go back through his channel, and they were terrible. He was like 13, so the difference between someone being successful on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and someone not being successful is tenaciousness. It's the ability to keep going when you're only getting 2 views. So if you look at that as the baseline, and then every upload you get 1% better, that is more important than any tactic or any idea I can give you. The difference between the most famous plumber in the world and a plumber on YouTube that isn't famous is probably about 3,000 videos. That's honestly
Mm.
the biggest difference. Having said that, if you make the first 0 to 2 seconds very visually and audibly impactful, if you follow that up with another 5 or 10 or 15 seconds that captivate the brain, the mind, the creativity, and then end the video with the payoff of the thing you're waiting for, then you're going to be successful. People that have a job to make shorts, or feel like they need to make 100 a month to, get the algorithm going in their favor, I feel like they're just kind of destroying their channel. I would rather see someone make 10 or 12 shorts a month or a year than 100 crappy shorts. So
Hmm.
I think that in my opinion, there's a lot of tricks. One of the best tricks is so what, there I am. And the idea I is I and you are the two most powerful words in YouTube, by the way. A lot of people don't know that.
Hmm.
So, for example, a lot of Mr. Beast's titles are I gave, $1 million away. I helped 1,000 people see for the first time. That is a very powerful word. Another powerful word is you, because you are the person watching the content and I'm going to speak to you directly. And that's very important. So there is a concept of I went to the store so I could blank, then I did blank, and now is it worth it? Like the payoff. And when you lead people in a storytelling formula on a YouTube short or TikTok or Instagram with a I, so, then, now, you are leading them. You're telling a story without even the story yet. So you're telling them to keep going, and this is what happens next, and people's brains subconsciously hold on to that storytelling formula, and they wait for the next thing, and then you say then or now, and it happens again. It's like they reset to wait to see what you're about to say. Does that make sense?
100%. Although it's bringing up a question in my mind now. If you look at brands like Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience, Stephen Bartlett with his video podcast, and the one you mentioned at the start, Samir and sorry,
Yeah,
I
Colin.
forgot, Colin and Samir.
Colin and Samir. Yeah.
Yeah, Colin and Samir. In their cases, like in Joe's case in particular, let's look at Joe's. He starts with a long form podcast, and then he chops it up into short form, like medium form and short form, or mid form, whatever you want to call it. And those videos, some of them go viral, but I wouldn't describe them as necessarily having a specific structure like this. But what would you
Actually,
recommend?
let
Okay,
actually with Joe
because
Rogan, he has a very specific style, and I will explain it to you. I call this the Golden Nugget formula. So what I do for
perfect.
clients like Grant Cardone is we do a long form podcast, but then I have a very specific structure of 30 questions to ask each guest. So what Joe Rogan does is he says something like, "Did you see that? Pull that up." Almost every viral video of Joe Rogan's, he
Hmm.
says something like, "Hey, did you see that? Pull that up." And now subconsciously, you're like, "See what? What is he pulling up?" And you wait around, and then you see some guy getting beat up by a 13-year-old or something. But did you see that? Pull it up is probably the most viral current thing you can do for YouTube Shorts. So
I'm gonna
his
try that now.
structure, yeah, try it. Try it.
Did you see that? Did you see that, Jeremy? Can you just go through that again? So
Exactly.
I've just created a
Exactly.
little hook there for someone else to clip later on. Okay, so that's genius. So with Grant, you say you give them 30. Are they like specific questions for each person that's interviewed, or are they like more of a general structured kind of
A
questions?
general
But the
structure.
general structure. Okay.
And let's talk about this. I don't know if you ever watched from the United States Scooby Doo, but every
100%.
episode is the same, right? At the end, they pull the mask off the person, like every time. Like it's the exact same thing. Humans are kind of dumb, and if you don't basically do the same thing over and over and over again, they have to relearn what you're doing. If you look at the biggest creator in the world, Mr. Beast, he gives stuff away, he gives money away, he gives to charity, or he does crazy things. He basically has three show formulas, and all three of them work quite well. He doesn't have 30, he doesn't have 20, he has three. And one thing I can say with a lot of confidence is if you try to reinvent the wheel every time with titles, with thumbnails, with stories, you're just going to fall. You're going to fall flat. Once you find a way to go viral, like Joe Rogan, hey, did you see that? Pull that up. Just go with it forever, because I think humans need that. There's a reason why every rom-com, romantic comedy, is the exact same.
All right, so I've got to figure out what are the little, hey, did you see that? Pull that up. I've got to find
Yeah.
my version of that for if I'm doing interviews. Like this is an example of the sort of interviews we're doing for for the Vubli brand. But my challenge now for me is to figure out what little hooks can I inject into these interviews that would make people sit up and watch. And but also think about that list of questions that I can go through for each person that I interview. Are those questions sort of your secret sauce, or are you allowed to say more about it?
Oh, yeah, I can say more about them, but one thing I will say is they're very specific to every customer,
Okay.
um, for a lot of reasons. But I'm happy to give you 30 based on this show and your goals. But I will say they're not only are they not secret, but they're simple. So, for example,
I like that.
what's the one thing that made you go from poor to wealthy? And when you and then the big trick, the big trick to your guest is to always say, answer that in one thought under 60 seconds long. So if you were to say, what's the one thing, Jeremy, that, helped you go from not getting views to billions of views? And make sure you answer that in just two sentences, a full thought, go. I'm going to say something like, I was struggling on
Well, wait,
YouTube until I,
wait. Let's do it.
all right,
Let's
let's
make
do it.
one up right now. Okay, you
Yeah,
ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
What's the formula? So what's the one thing that made
Yeah.
you from
Yeah.
A to B?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
exactly.
And answer it in one or two sentences, something like that. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, what's the let me try again. This is
Yeah.
live. Okay. So what's the one thing that made you go from just a few views to like millions or billions of views? And try and answer this in like one or two sentences.
So the one thing I learned by doing YouTube strategy for 19 years is your niche, the thing you do, is more important than how good you are on camera or your camera equipment or your audio. Being the master of one thing, whether it's skateboarding or plumbing, means that people that like skateboarding or plumbing can watch your content, and everyone else knows it's not for them, and then you can pour into those people forever. That's the one thing that will take you from a few views to billions of views.
That is so cool. That's just magic. Okay. All
But
right.
even though I'm
So
not great on camera, you can see like the power of that, right? So
totally.
we're
Yeah.
going from just an interview to a golden nugget formula. That's what I call it.
Okay, so that's a formula, and I'm sure there's more. Are you okay to share another formula that people can latch onto?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got the what would you do if there's one thing you could do to go from A to B and then keep it short, blah blah blah. Okay, so what's hit me with another one, and it's almost like this is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So another one would be a shock and polarization. Now, one thing I'm going to
Actually,
say, oh,
Jeremy, can I
yeah,
try your trick again? I'm going to try your
let's
trick again.
do it.
I'm going to reset up
Do it.
this question, and people watching this, you're watching this sort of workshop in live mode. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me phrase this question. Okay, Jeremy, give me one other huge tip. No. Try again. Okay, Jeremy, you mentioned formulas. Give me, in one or two sentences, another amazing formula to help your videos go viral.
One of the best ways to go viral is to shock people or have a polarizing view of something. So, for example, views are stupid. Never seek views again would be how I would start the video, and then explain that views aren't going to help you make money. You got to pour into your audience. It's about them, it's not about millions of views. If you were selling jumbo jets, you only need one view a year to make millions of dollars.
Oh, that is cool. Okay, all right. So I think I'm getting the idea here for doing this. I'm hoping that I can start making this, well, both something that I, and maybe you watching this as well, can do before the interview to start, actively coming up with those questions that are nugget worthy. But I think it's also going to have to be something that I can instill into my psyche to sort of let that sort of flow off the tip of my tongue like Joe Rogan does, just automatically as well, and just look for those opportunities for nuggets to come out. I don't want you to reveal all your secrets because I'm sure people will want to actually talk to you in person as well, Jeremy. But what was I going to say? When it comes to, I want to just touch on the long form stuff as well, because I think eventually you're going to get to the long form thing, and that's how we started this interview. Was it seems like that's where the trend is going. So, but what you're saying is like, don't start with a long form, start with a short form, and use the stuff that we've just talked about to make that go viral. Build your audience within that niche, and then that's your audience for launching your long form too. When it comes to long form, you mentioned the Disney thing and the storytelling thing and the hero's journey. Let's make this the last sort of question, but. What big picture advice would you give people if they're thinking about, let's say it's your average Joe Block kind of business, right? It's not your Hollywood production style business now. How would you recommend someone create a show on YouTube, a long form show?
Can you share my screen again?
100%.
Yeah, thank you. So, one thing I want to instill in everyone is I think a lot of us creators have fixed mindsets. What I mean by that, we're still fixed on silly things don't matter. So, for example, there's still a big debate on what clickbait is and what clickbait isn't. Even in the 1800s and 1900s, newspapers had really good headlines. The difference between clickbait and not is it true? So if I said this snake had 7 heads and killed someone and it really happened in real life, that's not clickbait. That's just a title people are going to click on because it's interesting. It's the ideation, it's the story. If I lied and said a snake had 7 heads and it only had 1 head, then I'm just a liar, and that is clickbait. So do not get confused on a good idea, a good story, a good headline. Don't get confused that that's bad. If it's true, it's not bad. I'll give you an example. So one of my favorite current, I'm not going to say I like his content, but he's very good at titles and thumbnails and storytelling. And what's very interesting about him is he gets from 200,000 or 300,000 to 1 million views per video always. How does he do this? He does a lot of trending content about real estate in America, and he says things to shock people. So, for example, breaking Federal Reserve begins, electronic reset, stocks skyrocket. That's a good title, and it's true. He says, I'm selling everything. And he did in the video reveal that he's selling all his real estate in California. Excuse me, the stock market bubble, the final warning, what's happening to the housing market. WTF is happening to the housing market. You can see that so by default, even before you go watch the video, you know this is a good video. You know this is a good idea. And this goes back to if I was going to make a video on how to fix a leaky toilet, I would say, is your leaking toilet costing you $1,000 a year? Question mark. It's really the difference, right? I could teach people about the stock market, or I can help them experience it. And to be honest, this is a difference between Colin and Samir and vidIQ right now. vidIQ is still teaching people how to get more views, and Colin Samir is interviewing Mr. Beast on what he's doing to get more views. It's a big difference. It's subtle, but it's a big difference. So he has the best titles possible, some of the best thumbnails in the industry. And when you watch his videos, they are not by any means, shape, or form high quality. Um, they're not low quality, but it's just him with a green, a red, curtain in the background and a black curtain in the background. There's nothing
Mm.
fancy there. In fact, both of our studios probably are better than his current studio here.
Oh, yeah.
He is
We should be getting
talking the
millions of views
entire,
here.
exactly. He's talking the entire time. When he gets the most views, he's showing things on the screen. So that tells you the power of B-roll. But ultimately, his idea is, I'm selling everything, and here's why. It's a compelling story. It uses the hero's journey formula. And this is what I'd call a deep dive. A deep dive would be from A to Z, why a thing is happening, why you should change something. And to me, the two things I would do if I was trying to grow a brand in 2026 is I would have a podcast with very deep, good conversations. And two, I would deep dive into my niche topics, but do it in a compelling or trending or viral way.
Man, Jeremy, I wish we had more time to go into this, but we only dedicated an hour for today's show. So we're going to start wrapping things up. I'm wondering if you'd be up for a challenge, and a challenge for me too. If I
Right?
were to use what you've just taught me to build up this new channel that I'm working on to, let's say, I don't know, what's the number? We're sitting on about 55 subscribers at the moment. Let's say 10,000. If we can get it to 10,000 subscribers using what you've just taught me, would you be open to come on the show again and we do a deep dive on the long form show stuff? Because it feels like there's a lot more we can talk about there, but would you be open to that?
Absolutely. And I'll even throw in, let me help you plan your next 10 or 20 videos.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Well, I'm up for it. I'm in. I'm 100% in. This is this is so cool, Jeremy. Okay, this has gone down paths that I didn't even consider. In fact, I was going to talk about the long form stuff today, and we talked about short form, and I was going to see how I can bring short form into it, and you managed to magically just throw it in there right from the beginning, which I'm really grateful for. We've
But
run
if
out
you
of
think
time,
about
but
it, you have to be a short form storyteller before you can do long form.
well, I think you've just bended my mind today, because I was thinking, you've got to do this long form thing and then get that right, and then massage it into short form or something. But you've got it the 100% other way around, which is a big shift for me in my thinking now, which is going to help my long form massively as well. So that's
Absolutely.
absolutely golden. So thank you for that, Jeremy. There's a couple of places I think that people can go to find out more about you. Do you want to just talk about Creator Unlock a little bit again? Let me just actually set this up. I'll just log out of my account so that I can show you the homepage for Creator Unlock. Let me show creatorunlock.com. So if people are interested in Creator Unlock, just tell people the offer that you have there. Is that the right place now? Creator
Yeah,
Unlock. There we
just
go. Yeah.
creatorunlock.com. So we are the first AI video strategist, and you can get a free channel audit that you were talking about earlier. No commitment. It's completely free. And I dare you to find a YouTube channel audit better, paid or not, in the world. Um, we also offer the paid, pretty inexpensive for what you get AI strategist. One version is just the strategist, and the second version, you actually get a YouTube coach that can answer any questions you have.
Yeah, so that's that free audit you're talking about there, right? So if you go to
Yeah.
careerunlock.com, there's a free audit. There's something else that you mentioned just before the call as well, Jeremy. Did you want to quickly mention that as well? The done
Sure.
for you stuff that you doing with Niche King.
Yeah. So nicheking.video is I'm taking on about 24 brands or people a year. It's very expensive, but I'm basically going to help you become the king of your niche. So if you're ready to spend $24,000 United States, I will personally coach you and 23 other channels. I opened this up yesterday and we already have 6 channels reserved. So we will probably sell out pretty quickly. But here's the idea: stop guessing, hire someone like me and my team. We're just going to go make you one of, if not the biggest players in your niche on YouTube.
Amazing. I see you've got some awesome case studies there already. Roger Wakefield, Grant Cardone, Best Badge. I don't know, Best Badger. I know Austin. Austin was actually the first interview on this interview series. So vidIQ as well. So some pretty amazing, big hitting players on there. Jeremy, this was just an incredible interview. I've learned so much. Great to speak to you again. I think the last time we spoke in person was maybe 10 years ago, but we've kept in touch over social media. So let's stay in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to grow your influence with daily short form videos, Vubli makes it effortless. Post everywhere, be seen everywhere. Try it free at vubli.ai. I'll see you in the next episode.